Over the years, the Pokémon world has generated an enormous number of theories. Some were born as simple exercises in imagination, others as attempts to fill narrative gaps. There are, however, a few theories that, over time, have stopped feeling like mere speculation, theories that persist, that resurface again and again, and that continue to be discussed. Not because they are intriguing, but because they are surprisingly coherent. In this video, we will analyze some of the most famous ones, not to determine whether they are absolutely true or false, but to understand why it is so difficult to dismiss them as simple fan fantasies. Genesect was introduced in the 5th generation. It is a bug/steel-type Pokémon classified as artificial and described as a creature revived and modified by Team Plasma. According to the Pokédex, Genesect has existed for over 300 million years. Originally, it was an ancient bug-type Pokémon, feared as one of the most efficient predators of its era. Kabutops, by contrast, is explicitly identified as an extinct species. It belongs to the fossil Pokémon category and is one of the very first ever introduced, alongside Omastar and Aerodactyl. Its typing is rock/water. When observing the two Pokémon without considering their narrative context, the resemblances immediate. Both feature a bipedal body structure, an elongated head with similarly positioned eyes, sharp forelimbs clearly adapted for predation. Their sizes are comparable. Kabutops stands at 1.3 meters, Genesect at 1.5 meters. However, a significant portion of Genesect's height is due to the dorsal cannon, an element we know was artificially added. If that modification is mentally removed, their proportions become strikingly similar. The Pokédex entries further reinforce the parallel. Genesect is described as an ancient predator, active more than 300 million years ago. Kabutops itself receives little direct information about its distant past. Its pre-evolution, Kabuto, however, does. According to the Pokédex, Kabuto lived on beaches 300 million years ago. The temporal overlap is the same. The most common objection concerns typing. Genesect is bug/steel. Kabutops is rock/water. However, both discrepancies can be contextualized. Genesect's steel typing is clearly the result of human modification. Team Plasma altered its body, adding armor and advanced weaponry. Kabutops' rock typing, on the other hand, is shared by all fossil Pokémon. It is well established that fossil Pokémon are not perfect reconstructions of the original species, but organisms revived through an incomplete and artificial process. In other words, the rock typing may not belong to the original creature, but rather be a consequence of fossilization itself. Adding another layer of interest are the Pokémon cards. Shining Kabutops from the Neo Destiny set dates back over 20 years. Shining Genesect, by contrast, is much more recent. The two cards share pose, color palette, and overall visual composition to a striking degree. This is not definitive proof, but in a franchise known for its meticulous attention to detail, even visual echoes like these carry weight. We now move to a much more concrete theory. In Pokémon Fire and Leaf Green, inside the Rocket Warehouse on 5 Island, the scientist Gideon reveals that Giovanni has a son, specifically stating, Giovanni's son has red hair. This excludes Red, the protagonist. Heart Gold and Soul Silver complete the picture. During the Celebi event, we witness a direct confrontation between Giovanni and Silver. Silver is his son. This is now canonical. The theory, however, does not concern the father. It concerns the mother. In the 2nd generation remakes, Team Rocket's admins receive proper visual characterization for the first time. Athena, Giovanni's second-in-command, bears an extremely strong resemblance to Silver. Identical hair color, similar structure, matching facial lines. No explicit confirmation is ever given, but the parallel is unmistakable. Given Athena's position within the organization and Giovanni's role as its leader, the hypothesis remains open. This is one of the most famous theories and also one of the most controversial. The legend of the Burned Tower tells of 3 Pokémon who perished in a fire and were resurrected by Ho-Oh as Raikou, Entei, and Suicune. According to many fans, the original Pokémon were Vaporeon, Jolteon, and Flareon. There is supporting evidence. Ecrutic City is deeply associated with evolutions. The elemental types match. The base stat distributions are notably similar. However, there are two major issues. The first concerns the Pokédex order, which appears to follow the chronology of the disaster: lightning, fire, rain. The second is narrative. Ho-Oh is said to grant the elemental powers. This suggests that the original Pokémon may not have possessed them beforehand. For these reasons, the theory remains compelling, but not entirely convincing. This is likely the darkest and most discussed theory in the entire franchise. Cinnabar Island, the Pokémon Mansion, the experiments on Mew. Several months passed between the discovery of Mew and the birth of Mewtwo. It is unlikely that every attempt succeeded. Ditto shares several unique traits. The same weight as Mew, the ability to use Transform, evenly distributed base stats, but it is weaker. Additionally, inside Cerulean Cave, Ditto appears more frequently the closer one. Gets to Mewtwo. In the Pokéathlon of Heart Gold and Soul Silver, only 3 Pokémon can achieve 5 stars in every category: Arceus, Mew, and Ditto. None of these theories has ever been officially confirmed, but none has been definitively disproven either. And perhaps that is the point. Pokémon is a franchise that over time has smoothed out its darker edges, yet beneath the surface, traces remain of a narrative past far more complex than it first appears.